I will hop in. I'm going to hop in really quick and do our mom shout out. I am shouting out my personal friend, Kelly Larson. Here's what she wrote. So this is her direct quote. I just want to make sure I preface that. I always get nervous when I have to say something scripted. I was never good at public speaking, so my cheeks are red. I've been running most of my life, starting with soccer and then half marathons in high school. I plan to run one marathon before having kids, just to check it off my list. Instead, I ran my first when my daughter was 18 months old, training early mornings with a friend. I unexpectedly qualified for Boston on that first try and never looked back. Now I'm training for my 5th marathon and love the process. It's making me stronger, healthier, and better able to keep up with my kids. A few years ago, I got into mountain biking and now race something that I once found terrifying. I even completed my first triathlon despite not being a swimmer. The biggest lesson: don't limit yourself. Try new things, chase dreams that scare you, and make sure that you're having fun along the way. That's what life really is about. And yeah, she's one of those people that's like good at everything, like just picks it up, and she like placed in her triathlon, and it was a sprint try, and she's just one of those people that's like, you know, I'm going to go out and run my first marathon and qualify for Boston. And, you know, she's just super speedy and cool and fun. So, yay, Kelly!
She reminds me of Elizabeth, like going after it, but holding tight that it's all about having fun.
Yes.
If you're not having fun, don't do it. Don't take your goals too seriously.
Ooh.
Or running too serious.
That's so good. What I'm currently trying to learn when I take myself a little too seriously and have to bail because I'm like putting self-inflicted pressure on myself. So I think it's always a good lesson to learn is to just not take yourself too seriously.
Is it? Do you want to? Oh, I missed it. I haven't been on Instagram. What'd you do?
I my race photos. Okay, so I have like 2 really good race photos, just like me cruising as I always do, peace signs, like what's up, photographer. Which like that's my like above running. Me finding a camera is my number one like superpower. I'm better at finding a camera than I even am at being a mom. Like I'm like, oh, there's a camera. Better look good for it. So it captured the moment that I panicked and called my husband. We literally rounded this tunnel, and there was like, and that's where like my world closed in. And at first I was like, I'm taking these photos to the grave, and then Shanna was like, just send me one because you have a lot of bad pictures of me. I need one of you, and I was like, okay. And then I couldn't laugh at
good friends.
If you want to see, I couldn't stop laughing at them, and I was like, these are really dramatic. Like the drama of it all makes like I was like, you know, like laughing about things, it just like can launch you forward, I think. And laughing about it has helped so much because in the moment it felt like the worst thing ever, and it was very dramatic. Like, I mean, I took off my bib and everything. Like I was,
you're like on the phone, too.
Like on the phone,
and you're ripping off your bib and like throwing it and stomping on it.
Yeah, I balled it and put it in the I wish. On the phone. And my husband, he was like, why do you have your phone to your ear if you have AirPods in? I know. Yeah. Well, my AirPods, you can't talk into them.
Mine are the same.
Yeah. So that part has gone. So if like that's why. And so I had my phone to my ear. And yeah, it was a very dramatic moment. And so looking back, and I like love that I was the one who wasn't cheerful in that moment because it's like very unlike me. So just having that to look back on, and then it didn't even take me 24 hours to be like, I'm gonna make a reel with it because it made me laugh so hard. And I was like, other people, I wish there was a video of me walking. There's no good place to walk off. So obviously into the crowd I go. Just taking my bib. I was like, nobody should keep tracking this piece of shit. Yeah, it was like
I was just about that. Did you throw it away?
No, I took the bib home. I didn't want to litter, and I couldn't find a trash can. Like
I feel like you need to, like light it on fire, have some sort of like cleansing ritual.
Sage all my workout gear from that day. Also, speaking of workout gear, so I bought a sports bra off of Amazon. Sorry, we can get into the episode in a second.
No, this is what it's all about.
Everything was funny about this. So the sports bra off of Amazon, I have 3 of them. So nothing new. I ran in it all the time, but it has a phone pocket. This one was sewn incorrectly so that the pocket that holds your phone in didn't. My phone bounced out of my sports bra 2 times and fell on the ground with no case on it or anything. So when I tell you everything was a disaster that day, that's why I was talking about saging all my workout gear from that day, because like my shorts were too big, so they were sagging. It was a mess. I convinced myself my shoe was untied at one point. It wasn't, but I wanted to like, stopped and put my foot up and look. Yeah, I was a mess. Like, which is funny because like with running, I'm a mess all the time. Like, I forget things. Like, yeah,
I forgot to turn the car off yesterday. Jake came home and he was like, the car's on. Like, it's a button. You just have to press a button. I was like, I had a lot going on. I was carrying a lot of stuff.
Yeah.
Honestly,
one more thing.
Yeah.
Hey. So, don't know.
I know, right? I think like an hour and a half.
You're like,
it could have been worse. But,
yeah. You're like, I think the carbon monoxide thing was beeping, but I didn't hear it.
Because I was asleep on my way to. Yeah.
Oh.
It was outside. It was in the house.
Okay. Yeah. I have an electric car, so I actually leave my car on all the time. And so whenever I'm in a regular car, I do forget that I cannot do that. And so,
we live up on a hill, and I think like we have a barn right next to our house. My husband had come and crested over the hill, saw the barn was open, immediately got out of our old minivan to run over to close the garage. Next thing he knows, he runs out and he can't find the minivan. The minivan went over the hill down into our neighbor's yard, crashed into their cars. So our neighbor has proceeded to mow this lane that our car traversed down, like I think as a means to taunt us. But he claims it's like good winter sledding. But I think it's to taunt us.
Fun, or are they being passive aggressive?
I think maybe both. I don't know. I will think positively and say fun.
I wish my husband did something like that, because I would hold it over his head all the time. Because I make mistakes all the time, because I'm always moving too fast and doing too many things at one time.
Yeah.
And if he did one glaring thing like that, it would be amazing. I'd be like, every fight's over. At least I could like forget.
And the funny thing is, the license,
put it in park.
Yeah. The license plate to the van got stuck on our like gate, and so it literally was there to taunt us as well for like 2 years. And I left that sucker there.
You should just leave it. That is so.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
True love. Yeah. Forgiveness. Yeah.
My gosh. My dog just killed one of our neighbor's chickens, and that makes me feel an Otis. I went to the store and pretended to make sourdough bread and pretended to make homemade jam, put it all in my own things, and gave it to them and was like, I felt so bad. I spent all day baking for you. And I sat next to her at a soccer game and didn't realize it, and she was like, oh my gosh, I couldn't believe you went and did all of that. I was like, I didn't. But yeah, but that makes me feel so much better, because at least I didn't hit their car.
Yeah, you do know that the sourdough is not going to bring the chicken back.
No, it's not. No. Otis came home with feathers all over his mouth, so I knew that something had happened. I didn't know that it was like right there. I thought he had maybe caught a bird, because that's pretty standard from him. But because he's an escape artist. But no, I did offer to pay for another chicken, and so I was like googling how much do chickens cost. Like, and they were like
$4.
Yeah,
Little baby chick.
Yeah, what I did was much more expensive. I bought really nice jam. I went to a nice store, bought nice jam, bought the different jar, and, like, to put on the, because there was no way I was going to be like canning things that day. Jam is a very long process. It is.
Yeah. Did the polygamist make them?
I don't know about this.
Make jam?
I don't even know. It could have been hand churned by a polyg, but I'm not 100%.
Oh, thank you for that imagery. Again.
I do like to make jam if I feel like fruit is going to go to waste. And
Oh, look at you.
Do you water bath it or do you pressure can?
you what?
Do you water bath or pressure can?
Oh my gosh.
Pressure.
Yeah.
Well, you live on a farm,
either
right,
one.
Elizabeth?
We do, yeah.
Yeah,
I got into canning a couple summers ago, and that's a whole different ball game.
It is.
Yeah. It's YouTube. You can learn anything on YouTube. You just have to be a lifelong learner.
He's a Jane of all trades. So we're gonna get into it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Do you want to? Yeah. Trisha, how's your sleep been lately? Treat yourself. So Lagoon, thanks for sponsoring us.
Yeah, thank you. I was gonna say it's the ultimate pillow that everyone will steal. So buy two while you're at it. That's the key. Yeah.
Is it Garmin approved?
Good question.
Okay. Good.
Mm-hmm.
I think Garmin might yell, but maybe it's Garmin
I was
approved.
gonna say Garmin.
I think so.
It is. I had a Garmin for years and I switched to a Coros. I feel like, well, it's funny. I feel like Garmin is nicer in it like strokes your ego in its race predictor. Like it'll have you faster than you are, at least for me personally.
Yeah.
And Coros does not, but Garmin is so, the whole unproductive language after it's like you just killed a workout and then it says you're unproductive, which is all based on like your heart rate and your training load and everything. And unproductive doesn't mean you're unproductive. It just means like you need some rest before you it's harsh. It definitely can mess with your head, in my opinion.
It's a bully.
It's a bully. Yeah.
It is. The day after my marathon, I'm not kidding, it gives like recommended workouts. It told me to go run like 35 minutes threshold pace. Like I just ran my marathon.
Oh my gosh, that is so funny.
Yeah.
I'm very happy that I have not talked to a single person that likes the Garmin like coach or whatever I don't know what they call it. That is really bad because it's the whole AI is taking over everything. And as a running coach, I'm like, I don't want Garmin to displace what I'm doing.
Yeah, my husband actually followed Garmin one summer before his second marathon. So he ran 4 marathons last year. Don't recommend.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness.
Because he was trying to Boston qualify, so we could run together. And so the second go around, he followed Garmin. And I mean, the workouts are great, but what would happen is if he's an ER doctor, so he works a lot of night shifts and his shifts are just very chaotic. And so he wouldn't get good sleep one night. And then, so we had planned, like Wednesday is going to be his hard workout day, Saturday, Garmin's saying he's going to do his long run. So like in our minds, we're like, okay, we're going to block off this amount of time so you can go do this run, block off this amount of time so you can go do this run. And the next thing you know, he gets bad sleep and it like shifts his workouts like 2 or 3 days and it's having him go out and do like a recovery run at like 10-minute pace. So that was like the most frustrating. There's no guarantee. No guarantee.
Yeah. And you have to remember that you know yourself better than a watch or a running
Absolutely.
coach. Or like you feel like it's this magic 8 ball and it knows something that you don't, but like you know how you feel. You know if you should be doing a tempo after your marathon.
Yeah.
Delete.
I'm a data person. Like I love having the watch data, but I also have to remind myself like to remove myself even with race predictions, like just about how in my head I can get, or I don't wear it to sleep or anything like that, because I was obsessed with wearing my Apple Watch to sleep, or I don't even know. Yeah, I think that's what it was, and I was obsessed, and I was like, I was only getting this much sleep, but at the time I was working night shift, and like you're never getting good solid sleep, especially when you're a parent then and working night shift. So yeah. Did he end up qualifying for Boston? Did he run it with you?
So he did qualify, but with the time deduction, it wasn't enough. So so he wasn't ever. And so after his fourth, which was last October, and when we ran Detroit together, he was like, I'm done marathoning. So he's since gone back to he loves Spartan races.
Fun.
But after seeing and watching me at Boston, I think it really gave him the marathon bug again. So he, we'll see.
I love that. That's really cool. That's so neat. You guys, I was just going to say, I didn't know that you guys were both physicians and both marathoners.
Well,
marathoning was like very different.
Yeah, we met in medical school, but we were always active. We did all the intramurals, but yeah, when I started running, 2+ years ago, I had no idea I'd be running marathons, but I signed up for my marathon in my hometown, and he's like, heck, I want to do it with you. And so we kind of just trained together. We'd get babysitters on Saturday mornings, and we go do our long runs together. And it was a really good bonding experience through that, because just having someone there beside you going through, especially your first time, kind of bouncing, that sucked, right? That was terrible, right? Like, it's supposed to feel this way, right? Having someone to kind of commiserate with was great. But yeah, we ran our first marathon together, and I qualified. He was just a minute or two off, and so he ran one 3 months later, and then 3 months, and then his fourth was Detroit. But
wow.
Yeah, I don't recommend that at all. Yeah.
Wow, that is wild. Wow. I forget that your marathon journey is actually so new.
Recent.
Yeah, that is wild. Actually, should we talk about your background?
Yeah, let me read your intro, your bio, and then we're gonna get into it. So get ready. We're gonna buckle up. We're gonna ask really serious, hard-hitting questions. Okay, so Elizabeth Ropp is it Mommer Do Run?
Yeah, so let me explain this, because Shanna posted this reel the other week, show me your handles and stuff. So I put mine up there and explained it. And I can't tell you, her and a couple others were like, oh, that makes so much sense. So basically, Mommer, I'm a mom. My initials are ER, Elizabeth Ropp. Do, which is DO, I'm a doctor of osteopathic medicine, so do. And then I run a little bit. So that's
Okay. I always thought it was maybe your kids called you Mommer, and they were like, Mommer's going to do her run.
I think
maybe
if it was MD, you'd never have to explain it. I think so many people don't think about the DO versus MD. So I think that's it.
Yep. So that's
I love it.
Yeah.
All right. Recently, we're right now, after you explained it, I put that together. All right, so that's what she is on Instagram. Mommer Do Run with underscores in between those, right?
Yes.
So she is a 40-year-old mom of 6, just like Shanna. Shanna's younger than. I don't know why I had to point that out. Well, it's okay. Elizabeth and I.
I'm old.
All right. You know what? I have to go. There's an emergency. See you guys later. I'm going to leave on a high note. I'm not going to sit in it. I think I had to plow into the neighbor's house, so I have to go.
Oh my gosh.
She has 6 kids, and so does Shanna. We wish Shanna was here, and you guys could just take it away talking about you and your 6 kids. But anyways, oh my God. Okay. She's a mom of 6. She started running a little over 2 years ago after baby 6 as a means to battle postpartum depression and postpartum anxiety. She recently completed her first world major marathon at Boston, and it was her 3rd ever marathon. She's planning to run Chicago later this year. She homeschools the 6 kids. And she recently went back to work nearly full-time as a pediatrician, working as a nursery hospitalist at the community hospital. Oh, man. How, Elizabeth? Let's just, like, how are you doing? How many people are you?
I question that myself some days, but I
don't think her shirt's on inside out even. Like,
no.
Yeah.
Well, I think everyone, I think everyone that shows up for themselves are, pretty darn awesome. Yeah.
Well, I like that you said that. Because you're right. It does kind of take courage to stake that in the ground, especially when you have so many responsibilities. So, I'll start with what's a typical day like for you? Just kind of wondering how, mom of 6, mom homeschooling 6, mom working as a doctor, mom living on a farm, marathoning. How? That is a lot going on.
I think it boils down to lifestyle. So, homeschooling, I think, frees up so much in your everyday life, more so than I think you realize. So I decided to homeschool when my oldest, so he's 13, was going into kindergarten. We were living in Oregon at the time.
Ooh, nice.
As my husband was going through residency. So we met medical school. I completed my residency. He was in the Navy, and then he moved away for the last 2 years of my residency, where I had our second child in residency. And once I graduated, he was a flight surgeon. And we lived together in Pensacola, where he completed pretty much his obligation to the Navy. But after he got out of the Navy, he had to go back to residency as a civilian. They would not count his 1-year family medicine residency towards any sort of credit. So he had to go back to civilian residency, and he got into Oregon, which is where he's from. It's a very competitive, very awesome emergency medicine program. So I never, ever lived outside of Florida. I'm a Florida girl in my life. So up we went we had 3 kids at the time. Up we went cross country to Portland, Oregon, where we were there for 3 years while he did his residency. And if you know anything about residency as a doctor, you are there in the hospital for 65 to 80-hour weeks for 3 years, depending on your program that you're going for. His was 3 years. So I just knew going into that, I was going to be single parenting three kids at the time, where my oldest was going into kindergarten. And the thought of me getting up in the morning with 3 kids, making lunches, transporting said kids to kindergarten / pre-K, to turn around to probably pick up my pre-K at noon, to come back to turn around to pick up my kindergartner in the afternoon, to come back to then do everything, just seemed daunting to me. So I said, why don't I try homeschooling? I'd always thought about it. Why don't I try homeschooling? And so I did, and we never really have looked back. So I think that is, for us, been the freeing aspect of being able to do these things. And so a day in the life of me typically is, we wake up relatively early. My kids are very early risers. And we do breakfast together, and that could take short as 15 minutes, as long as an hour. There's no really time commitment that needs to be met. And then after that is usually our school time, where we kind of gravitate over, and I lay out all of the materials that they need to be doing during the day. And now my oldest is in 7th grade. He just graduated from 7th grade, but so he's more rigorous in his workload, so he actually goes down to the basement but comes up intermittently for us to check his work. And so during that time, school really only lasts maybe 2 hours for him. It lasts a little longer. And, for my littles, it's hit or miss. And then typically after we do our morning schooling is when we do a workout. So if my husband is working and I'm solo parenting, what we'll do is we wrap up school pretty much around like 11 o'clock to noon. We head down to the basement where I will run on the treadmill while my kids all go down and do like a HIIT workout. So they can Google a high intensity interval HIIT workout, depending on what I have on deck, 20 minutes to 30 minutes. And then after that, they have their fun workouts that they will pull up on the computer where it keeps them active and involved. Or if they're not obeying, which happens a lot, it's sit down and read a book or go outside and play while I finish up what I need to do. Now, if my husband is home, we tag team. So if I need to get out and do my run, if I have a workout or something like that, I'll head down to the trail. We are right outside of an amazing 33-mile gravel trail here in Abingdon, the Creeper Trail. So it's a great access trail. That's where I train all of my outdoor trainings at. And so I'll go do that while he will stay here, and then we just kind of flip-flop, and then comes lunch. We do lunch, and we always do a quiet nap time, always around like 1 or 2 p.m. where the littles go down for a nap, and then my older kids will read quietly, and then I am able to reset for the afternoon. And then the afternoons typically are just whatever, dinner, chores, movies, as a family, extracurriculars, what have you. Now, if I'm on call, so with my new job, I am required to go in and round on our babies in our hospital. That can take anywhere from like 1 hour up to 4, 5, 6 hours, depending. So typically I'll just lay out the schoolwork for my husband, and he has agreed to becoming more involved in the homeschooling because this is one of the primary reasons why I decided to go back to work. Is because the homeschooling was very emotionally taxing on me. With now a teenager, I just felt extremely emotionally exhausted, and I needed him to kind of step in more as the father, as another teacher, to take this burden and load off. And so this is a very good way for where I can get out of the house for a couple hours on days that I'm on call, and then he can kind of like take that mental and emotional burden off of me here in the home. And then I'm usually home at a decent hour where I can pick up schooling, help what needs to be helped with, and then typically do my run with the kids downstairs, or just depending on the day, go out to the trail. So, it's really flexibility, and I think I attribute it to the flexibility of homeschooling.
What do you do? Oh, go ahead.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
I love that you spoke up for yourself. Like you noticed, you had that self-awareness that like, okay, this is becoming too much. I feel like I'm bending, maybe not breaking, but bending. And that you asked.
Yeah. And I was showing up in a way that I knew wasn't my best self. And I think, looking back after baby number 6, so 2.5 years ago, I just saw like there are so many gaps in my emotional ability to handle parenthood, motherhood. And I knew I was meant for so much more. I knew I had so much more in me to give. But, through postpartum depression and anxiety, I wanted to make a change. And I'm a very go-getter kind of person. I've always had something I'm excelling at, whether it was, in high school, making it into my local university where I went, University of Florida. And then UF, I was a chemistry degree, so making sure that I got into medical school, and then in medical school, making sure I got in, to my number 1 residency program in pediatrics. There was always something I was working towards, and I find a lot of fulfillment in that. Mm-hmm. And so come motherhood, I rightfully so followed my passion to stay at home more with my children, and I still worked part-time when we were in Oregon. And then when we moved here, it was smack dab in the middle of COVID, and they cut a lot of doctors, physicians, nurses, and the hospitals went to skeleton crew. And so what I was once promised to having a part-time job here ended up not coming to fruition because of COVID. And I kind of took that as a sign I needed to stay home. And so 4 years ago when we moved here, I, gave up work practicing as a physician and kind of just really invested everything into the home. We did have one baby, Declan, like 2.5 years ago. And he's been our last. And so, like, just through the last 3 years, just finding myself missing something, knowing that I needed something for me. And as selfish as I feel like that sounds, it's an understated absolute. Like, it's a necessity. And that's what really, I started running. And so running allowed me to kind of get out of that difficult time after my sixth child with the postpartum era. And then just finding myself still feeling a little bit taxed with the 6 kids in the home all the time, talking to my husband, having open conversations, being honest and not trying to like suppress feelings and saying like, and then this job actually landed in my lap. Like, and so I kind of took it as like a sign, like maybe this is my time to step up and to like be a member of our community. I have the credentials. I've kept my licensing up. This is like the job that I've always done and I love. And I went with it, and it's been a huge blessing to our family. And now my husband is stepping in more, through the schooling, which is it's just been an amazing transition.
That's amazing. I think it's so awesome because I've thought about you a lot in the times that we've talked on this pod about, we've had conversations about like working or staying at home, and like which one is more taxing, which one would we rather be doing, and it's like, I have always wondered, because for me, all I have is a paramedic license. Like, I don't have, it's not a degree or anything like that, but I've always wondered, like, when I've talked to Trisha, like, she went to school all the way through physical therapy school. Like, I've had friends that do that. And, like, my brother, he is a doctor, he's an MD. And so watching him go through it, and then I can't imagine him being a stay-at-home parent. I'm like, he did all this schooling. I can't imagine. And that just because you are a stay-at-home parent right now in a certain moment of your life doesn't mean you have to be that forever, and that everything doesn't have to be full-time or 40 hours a week, or that you're giving your whole life to this. And it's like, it's so refreshing to see that you're able to go be a physician, but not in an all or nothing setting, because I think that's how everything is presented to us. Like, I have friends that are lawyers, and it's like they are lawyers, and then they come home, and then they're parents after that, and it's like, I've always been like, how did you not miss your kids all day and stuff like that? But that was their version of how they make their lifestyle work, and it's just so refreshing to see this like not all or nothing attitude towards it. And I think that for so many people to hear that you can fit it into your life, especially when you have open communication, like that's probably the number one way to achieve this, right? Like, you guys have a great balance, and you have to figure out what works best for you, and so, because I think that's like where we all struggle, is like finding the balance of like, where can we fit these things in? And I'm solo so much, that's why I look so tired all the time. So it's like, there's like, sometimes I'm like, there's no balance. I'm crazy because there's no balance ever, but we have an open line of communication, and I know it won't be like this forever, but currently we are in an all or nothing situation. So it's so nice to hear that it's not going to be like that forever,
I think it's super brave too for you to say, to like recognize that as a high achiever, and really as a human being, like, we strive, we want to accomplish things, we want to have that growth, that personal growth, that it's not selfish to want to have that outside of being a mom. And I just think that, like, so many of us, well, me included, it's like you feel bad saying that you want something else, and it's, I don't know, because you feel like it should be enough, but it's not, and so I think you recognizing that and then speaking to it and then doing something about it is so amazing and courageous, and I hope it's I don't know, it encourages other people. I think a lot of moms, we use, like, I know myself included, like, we use running to kind of fill that void, because it is like, we are growing, we are accomplishing, it helps us feel productive while we may stay at home or while we're dealing with other things. But I think that's so awesome, and I think there's like a bunch of bugs swirling around me. I don't know why. Like, if you've seen me,
really
I don't know. I just think, and I love that your husband was receptive, and that the transition is going well. And yeah, I think we often think it like with everything, it has to be all or nothing.
Totally.
And nothing's forever either. It's like, if you are staying at home, like my kids really needed me this week, and I was really thankful that I had a flexible schedule, and because I often doubt my decision, and I'll be caught in a tailspin and be like, then screw it, I should go back to working full time. And then, like, stuff happens, and I'm like, gosh, I'm really glad that I was here for them. This is really important. And so it's just hard. Every week is different.
And I think too, like, embracing the season you're in, like recognizing that what you're doing now doesn't mean you have to be doing this next year. And I think just being able to kind of metamorphosize as you grow, as you get older, as as time goes on, the needs of your kids are going to evolve, and just giving yourself the grace, I think, is something that we moms are never taught, and kind of shamed to actually do to ourselves. I think embracing the season.
Mm-hmm. I also love that your kids are, like, you talked about when you first started running, and it's like you feel, it's selfish. And I think so many of us experience that part, like the selfishness, or like, if we head out, is everybody going to be okay, or the treadmill runs. But that now it's been over 2 years, and it's a part of your life. It's a part of their life. Like, that, it's, that's how it is for us. And I think that's what's hard to explain, is like, you just have to give yourself a chance to just get over that feeling of like, where it feels selfish. Like, I don't think a lot of us ever get over mom guilt, because that's just inherently in us. But the mental health side of running, that is so important. It comes when you start to get into that routine, and not that running is a replacement for any kind of mental health treatment. I'd like to say that, but I'm just saying, like, the side effect of, going and doing something for yourself is so important. And then that it's finally woven into your kids' life, like, that they are actively a part of it, is huge. And there's 6 of them. Like, that's 6 kids that you are making an impression on. I think that's what's so, like, it's so neat to think about, like, that's a part of their day and your day, Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And that you're worthy of setting goals, like, at any point in your life. Like, I think that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think I'm so excited. When you said you were going back to work, I was so excited for you. Like, I'm just very impressed. Just, you have so many children. I know I keep saying it, but it's like, you have so many kids, and you're able to go to, like, because you are a physician, and it's like that, going to school for so long, it's like, and the ability to help people is just, it's such a gift. Like, I think of that all the time. Like, especially when I first stopped working, I felt legitimate guilt for not helping more people. It was like something I had done for so long, and then all of a sudden I'm just home with my baby, enjoying my life, and I'm warm and cozy, and in hot tubs, and not in like a ambulance running around helping people. And I like felt like legitimate guilt. And so you have such a gift with being able to go and do that, and people get to experience that, is just so nice. Like, I'm very excited for you that you get to go and do that, and on your own terms, like, in your own schedule. That's huge.
Homeschooling question.
Okay.
How do you get your kids to comply? Like, if I tried to do that schedule with my kids, there's no way.
Yeah.
So this is going to be a loaded question, and I'm sure, like, there's going to be some naysayers, or I mean, there are consequences, right? There are consequences when you don't obey in a classroom, whether you're in public school or private school. There are consequences at home when you don't obey. So for us, we implement running. We have our kids run up and down our driveway. It's about it probably ends up being like a quarter mile, like not long at all. And we use that as a means to a lot of times it's out of frustration. And so schooling your own kids, they act differently around mom. Even they act differently around dad. And so they act in a way, they're emotionally more needy. And so in times of frustration, a lot of times, the disobedience comes out, the not wanting to do their work, not working hard, things like that. And so it's a way for them to separate themselves from the environment that they're in, to kind of just get their body moving. And they can walk. It's getting them outside, getting the fresh air. And then it's like, when you come back inside, I want you to be ready to recognize what you've done wrong and to be willing to now do what you've been asked to do. And if you have questions, ask questions, and we will talk this out. And so that's one of our ways to do it. I think, too, it's habit. The ritual of our morning is very routine. Kids thrive with routine. I thrive with routine. And so it's just they know what to anticipate. And you find kids do better with anticipation, knowing what to anticipate. And so they know that after breakfast, it's school time, and they know if they finish their school in a fast, or they can take as long or as little as they want to, it's up to them, that they can go and play outside or build their Legos or do something that they're interested in. And so it's really teaching the kids self-motivation, self-awareness, and recognizing, I think, too, working through the emotional incapacities, I feel like, of children that is lost through I wouldn't say everyday schooling, but it's been lost. And so being able to work through that is key for us, talking through difficulties and having just open conversations.
Awesome. That's
That
good.
is awesome. I thought you were going to say something like you hang them up on a hook in the barn or something when you were like, people may not like this, but
It's controversial, but we do use a hook
Well,
and a barn.
it's funny. Social media is funny because, I saw this reel about a mom making their kids run for discipline. And the comments on that were very bipolar, And it's like, I get it. There is no right way. There's no right way to parent one kid compared to another. Every child is different.
yeah.
And so for us, we are very movie people. We love to move our bodies. My husband and I are very active. And of course, genetics don't fall far from the tree. My kids are very active. And so it works. It works for us. It works for them. It helps them to reset, gets them away and separate from the scenario. And so it's just, social media is funny. So I preface that. You may not agree with me, but this is what works for us.
I got
we don't
punished
judge
by
so.
running, and then I became a runner. Because I would talk too much at soccer practice, and my coach would just have me run all the time, and so I was like,
Oh my
well,
gosh.
start running instead.
I mean, I think about the kids in classrooms, and they're like, well, they're just so active and all this stuff. I mean, you have to think about kids have just a ton of energy. Some kids do, well, some, not
Especially
every kid
boys.
does, but yeah,
Boys.
they do.
And we
just,
have five. We have 5 boys, and they
you have
are
5 boys.
boys.
Wow.
Yes, 5 boys.
Oh wow.
Yes.
That is wild.
Yes.
Oh
And
my
1
gosh.
girl.
Yeah, see,
And so-
I mean, it's just a ton of energy just in general,
Totally.
and then a lot of times it, being out at school is the only time, those are the
Yes.
only hours that they're actually out, doing stuff. And so that's when they are trying to expend their energy. So, I mean, because classrooms are trying to make adjustments, I think, for
Yes.
certain ways that children learn, and not just, I'm not talking special education or anything like that. Just, I know that there's a lot more just taking breaks, and I know some classrooms 5th graders and stuff are on the bouncy balls and stuff like that, and I'm like,
Yes.
these kinds of things, they make sense because not every child learns the same. Trisha, did you just have a thumbs up in your thing?
Yeah,
did.
what's happening?
Oh my gosh, that was so funny. You did like this with your
An
hand. and it made
emoji.
a thumbs up.
Thumbs up.
Yeah, that was really funny. It doesn't.
Oh, there it is.
Thank you for agreeing with me.
That's
That
weird.
is so
It's
funny.
like she
My-
really likes what you're
my
saying.
husband's- I know, that is
Well,
so funny.
That's something I'm learning. And it's a beautiful segue to the Happy Curve sponsor ad, which is going to embarrass me. But yeah, my son, Cal, he's hilarious and super energetic and super talkative. And he has been disruptive as late in class, like in the last week or so. And so I got, it's just, boys are very different than girls. I have a girl and she is like a rule follower. But anyway, so I was called into the principal's office this week and I was in the middle of my run. And so I went in with my sweaty clothes and I go in and I'm talking to the assistant principal and I'm sitting on the plastic chair and it's a good conversation talking about like, you know, what he needs and whatever. And then I feel good about the meeting and I get up and I look down and there is like an imprint of my
But
on the plastic chair. And the vice principal looks at me and she looks down at the chair and I look down at the chair and then we look at each other and then we both look at the chair and then we walk out of the office. And I really wish that I had used my Happy Curves product. So this episode is also sponsored by Happy Curves and they have like not just feminine care because they have anti-chafing sticks and stuff, but they do have, would you qualify it as feminine care? I don't know. Like they have a head to toe deodorant stick that smells like vanilla. They have body powder with this like luscious poofy thing that you can apply it. And it's great, like to get you, you know, if you don't have time to shower or if you get called into the principal's office halfway through your run. But I didn't, I went straight to the school, but I wish I'd gone home for like 1 second and just, because I live very close to our school, that I just kind of, you know, freshened up down there.
It would have been a quick fix, actually. Like,
it would have been
to avoid
perfect.
it.
So mothers, if you want to avoid that sticky situation, so embarrassing. Like every time I see her, I'm like, I know what you're thinking about right now. You can buy the Happy Curves products on Amazon. The code is, you can save 10%. And the code is MilesMoms10. That's the numeral 10. So yeah, there you go. There's
you'll probably never be called into the principal's office again.
yeah, but for good reason, because they're like, now we have to sanitize all of our chairs after Whitney came in. I really thought about it, but I was like, I don't think I want to call even more attention to this. So
I am such a nervous person that would have happened to me even if I wasn't in running gear. I would have just been so nervous that I would have been sweaty. So
I think that helped. Yeah, I think I was like sweating too because I was nervous and it was cold in there. So it was like that cold, clammy.
Yeah, yeah, that's my baseline. So I'm just like powdering up all the time lately. No, but yeah, my husband all the time is like, "Are you nervous?" And I'm like, "Why?" And he's like, "Your hands." And I'm like, "Oh, Niagara Falls over here." Yeah, this is just me all the time. Like, yeah. It's the occasional. I call it a snail trail when that happens. And are we?
So this is like a real thing.
Yeah. Yeah.
Snail trail. That is the best thing I've heard in a long time. It is so accurate.
Yeah. Yeah. Just like I would say it at work and people are like, "That's disgusting." I'm like, "Really?" Things I've ever said, "That's disgusting." But is it wrong?
Clearly, you did not talk about the hot dog nipples in front of them.
No. I hadn't pumped yet. Okay.
Oh yeah. Okay.
Don't offer her a chair.
Yeah. Yeah. Just make me stand. If I'm anywhere, yeah, just, she needs to stand.
This is why she's nervous about public speaking, because that stuff may come out of her mouth.
Yeah,
and because not sure, she doesn't know her audience all the time.
Yeah, well, because like when I have to speak in like what I had to read just now, like I can't read at the same time and talk. Like when in a classroom when they're like, oh, you're counting off and everybody has to read out loud, I would read my paragraph 80 times so that I wouldn't mess up, and sometimes I would still say something random. Like it just I don't know. You just never know. How'd that go? Oh, I didn't stutter. Oh, stuttered a lot. Like I can't help. You just never know. Yeah. Thanks.
It is why it's one reason why we love you so much.
Why I don't love myself. So no, I'm just kidding. I'm kidding. If I ever I'll just continue to look at my race photos and love myself.
And think about
I
your
need to
snail
go back
butt.
and look at that reel. I'm really hoping you chose like really dramatic music to go along.
Wicked music, it's me. Yeah. So with the photos, it says this is not me. You can click and be like, this is not me. And it makes me laugh. That's the funniest part of the whole thing, is that you can be like, this is not me. And I was like,
You're like, yeah, it's me.
Yeah. So funny. Because like even when I've bonked during races, my photos are hilarious because I look like I'm just having the best time. Like I have maybe one where I'm like a little sad, but like during grandma's, I was like excited to see like, oh, where did it go wrong? Couldn't tell. I was like, I had to look. Obviously I know where it went wrong, but it's just really funny. But these were just so funny. But let's talk more about you, Elizabeth.
Okay.
Okay, we should talk about your running journey, first of all, because you started running, what, 2.5 years ago? 2 years ago? And do you think that the postpartum anxiety and depression is like what propelled you into running, or?
Yeah, I would say primarily it was kind of like my husband's like go downstairs, just get on the treadmill, like, exercise. He's always known how much exercise has meant to me.
Mm-hmm.
I was a soccer player in high school, did like travel soccer, did intramurals in undergrad, and then in med school we did intramurals together. Nothing like serious, but so exercise had always been a big part of my life. And then having kids, I actually had a miscarriage with my first pregnancy. And that really like shook me. And so when I got pregnant with now our first, I just did not do much. I didn't run. I didn't do any like lifting or anything that I had kind of maybe done sporadically in the past. And I just really chilled. I walked a lot, and after he was born, just walked, and really like throughout my entire pregnancies and nursing for, I don't know, 12, 13 years, like I did not do anything structured. Now, when we lived out in Oregon, we did a lot of hikes, and I baby carried a lot. And so, I had that like, rucking under my belt, but nothing like structure wise. And so, it got to a point where I was just struggling, and my husband recognized it. And, medication, I am not against. Like, I am a doctor myself. Like, I think there is appropriate ways and situations where medication is appropriate. For me, I wanted to kind of see what I could do before going that route. And exercise, studies have shown that like 45 minutes of endurance exercise, like multiple times a week, can be as effective as these medicines for some people. And I will preface this, you need to always follow what your doctor says and not what some random lady on the internet says. But, and so I started running, and I had a treadmill. I bought a treadmill recently, and I did the iFit program. They had all of these programs on there, and just followed through, just like with walking. And then I started jogging, and then I followed to my first 5K. I signed up for my first 5K that year. And it just slowly transgressed to training on my treadmill 100% to 10K. I trained myself to my first half marathon by the end of that year. And I surprised myself when I went and ran it, that I was like, I can do this. Like, I love the feeling of like goal setting and then accomplishing. And so that's when I decided. I came home and I was like, I want to run a marathon. that weekend I got hooked up with my coach, signed up for a marathon in 3 months, and she trained me for 3 months, and I Boston qualified at that marathon. And that was it. That was last February. I was hooked. And so I just knew I had so much more to give, and that I still do have so much more to do with marathoning and just running in general.
That is so cool. It's so funny. You are like a very all or nothing person in so many ways. You're like, I don't just have a chemistry degree. I am a doctor. You're like, I'm not going to have a couple kids. I'm going to have 6 of them. You're like, I'm not just going to run a
glutton for punishment.
Yeah. You're like, I'm going to marathon. I'm going to qualify for Boston. And now you're like, I run Boston. Like, it's so awesome. It's so inspiring. It's so cool.
Say yes. Why not? Like, you only live once, you know? Like,
that's true. Have you always been that way? I guess you've always been that way. That's how Elizabeth is wired.
I don't know. Like, looking back, I just always had something in the distance that I was working towards. And so I never really felt that. But I think in the thick of motherhood, like, you look in the mirror and you kind of are like, who am I? Who have I become? And especially, like, when you don't have anything on the horizon that you're actually working towards or striving towards, and you kind of lose that sense of purpose, even though you were doing the most purposeful thing in raising your kids, but you lose that sense of, what am I doing? Like, in the day-to-day monotony of motherhood. And so this just helped small incremental time frames of, this is what I'm working for. And for me, my brain works better that way, I've realized, in this season of my life.
So what are your goals next? You have Chicago.
Yep, Chicago.
That's the big one.
That's my A race for the year. So Boston was kind of just, it wasn't my A race. I mean, I knew the hills, and, you know, it just wasn't something. I was coming off my Detroit marathon in October. So training through the winter it's just brutal for me. I'm from Florida, and so just recognizing the snow and the weather changes. But yeah, Chicago has been my A race for the year, and I don't have anything planned after that, although I did add myself to the London lottery. But
Ooh.
So you're going after the majors.
Maybe. I mean, it sounds very appealing. Now, how we're going to do it with 6 kids, I don't know. It may be something long-term, which, as you've realized, long-term goals is a thing that I like. So it may be something. We'll see. We'll see how Chicago goes. Running a world major is completely different than running, like, your local race. Like, it's not for just normal people. Like, it was really shocking.
Pack that a little bit more.
Yeah, in a good way. Like, what were highs and lows? And
yeah, I mean, you literally felt like cattle. And so the late start was a whole different mind game, and I think body issues as well. But, like, you start in these, like, tight corrals, thousands of people around you, and literally for the first 5 miles you are packed in. And so I wanted to run tangents. You know, you're, like, kind of making your way side to side, and you cannot, there is no way you are running tangents. And so I was locked in on the left side, which I've now realized is the worst side to be on, because most of the turns are right. Had I known that, like, get on the right side. But so you're locked in on the left, and then the aid stations were so packed. I can't tell you how many times you have to slow down to let people come in, or speed up, and then how many times I got bumped by other people, like, legit, like, running into each other, collision. And that just, like, it gets in your head over the course of 26.5 miles, however long I ran. But it's just like, wait, so those are the lows, but the highs, the crowds are amazing. The energy, you know, I got to meet some friends from Instagram, which was, like, amazing. But yeah, I swore I'd never do it again, but here, like, kind of, you know, it was great.
Yeah, that's the marathon. It's, like, such a love-hate thing. It's crazy. Yeah. But
It's like childbirth, you know, like amnesia. You have amnesia. You're like, the most painful thing ever, and the next thing you know, you're like,
It's so
I'll have
true.
5 more.
Yeah.
That's so awesome.
All right.
So go for it.
You go for it.
No,
I was
it's
going
good.
to say, what do you say to a mom who might be listening, who feels like maybe it's too late or it's too hard to chase something big? Because I think, you as someone who I know you've grown up as an athlete, but you became a quote unquote runner, later in life, like in your late 30s. You're a wonderful example that it's not too late. So what would you say to someone who struggles with that?
I would say, like, it's never too late. Your only competition is yourself, and it should be forever. So regardless of what you see other people doing, it should never change what you are capable of. And I think too, like, setting the example for your children. Like, my children see me showing up day in and day out when mommy's tired, when I'm not feeling well, when I'm exhausted, that I still show up. And the work ethic that they see mommy have, they learn that, because children, the best teachers are by examples. And we as parents, we as moms, are our best examples for our children. And so paving the way for them, really, in life, and that it's never too late, and that they're worth it. We're worth it. We are capable and able to set goals and to do the unbelievable, the unspeakable. And I just think it's never too late. And just do it. Do it.
I love that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I feel like a good my go-to antidote, especially for mom guilt, is like, I think about, would I want my kids to not do something for X reason? And no, like I don't want them to be subservient or say, let other people stop them from doing something that they want to do. That's good for them. Make good choices, children. But, so that's like, anytime I'm feeling guilty, I just think about that. I'm like, I wouldn't want them to limit themselves because they feel like they have to. I don't know. That's my...
Yeah.
And the ripple effect too, like your actions ripple, to those around you, whether or not it's your husband, your significant other, your partner, your kids, your friends, and then opening up social media, like that took a leap of faith. Like, and I feel like everyone has a story to share, and it's an amazing story. Make it awesome, like people are watching. Make this world a better place. Like, we need the positivity.
So do you ever struggle with imposter syndrome, like when you started your Instagram account? And you have?
Hands down, more days than not, like, what am I doing here on social media? Like, who am I kidding myself? Like, I'm not some 20-year-old, like, spring chicken, like, what am I doing?
Okay, for any listener that doesn't follow Elizabeth, you have to. Her reels are, like, her whole Instagram is super inspiring, because we haven't actually even talked about, like, your marathon times. Like, you have gotten so fast in such a fast time, but her reels are hilarious.
You're so funny.
So hilarious.
Unexpectedly, like, sometimes they'll start one direction and then oh my gosh, they are so funny. It does not matter that you are not a spring chicken. You are blessing us. Like,
100%.
Yeah, I just have to say that. Like, I can't even believe how hilarious they are. And I love that your husband helps you out with them.
Yes.
Like, it's so funny.
Yes, we are
That's the whole
goofballs.
reason when I started following you. Like, I saw a couple of your reels, like, randomly, and I'm like, oh my gosh, she's hilarious. Like, I had to follow her.
Yeah. Humor is another, like, way that I express myself. Like, we are complete, like, doofuses.
I love
but
it.
DO stands for doofus.
Yes.
I don't know that. Yeah.
Oh my gosh,
Yeah.
I love it.
But yeah, social media is weird, because I do feel like there's this, like, hierarchical elitism that, like, is very hard to tap into. And honestly, I don't have the energy, nor really, like, the desire. But, like, at the end of the day, you realize, like, if I could just inspire or motivate one person, one mom, then it's worth it. And it's been fun. Like, I do have fun, like, coming up with crazy ideas at 3 a.m., you know, and I'm not sleeping, and like getting the kids all in. Like, we've done a couple as a family together, and they love it. Like, they laugh. They like to watch it on the TV. And so, like, I don't know. I still question it. But I kind of just have to go with my heart. Like, you know, I got this desire to do it and start, and I've met so many amazing people and turned friends, like real life friends. And I know, like, Olivia, aren't you running Chicago? Like, there's a bunch of us, like, running Chicago. Yes.
Yeah.
See, and like, I just feel like I'd be going into these world majors, like, knowing no one, you know, in my little, like, bubble. And what fun is that, you know?
That's such a good, that's a good point. I don't know about you guys, but I go through a cycle where I'm like, I'm just going to shut it all down. And then I'm like, no, there's so many wonderful things, like meeting all of you guys through it. And
it's true. I love this era that's happening, though, because there's like these young, truly spring chickens that you're like that have like so many followers, and they're like true influencers and whatever, and like they're cute and they're doing their thing, and I love it, and I could never judge it, you know, but I love the realness that's happening in like 30 and above. Like, I love that, because I feel like I'm in such good company, like, of people that are like me, or if they're not like me, I can learn from them. And it's so refreshing, and I love it. And because, like, we don't all train the same, we don't all do the same. Even like Trisha, you are currently not in a marathon world. Like, you are doing ultras, right? Like, you're like, this is even, but yet I'm inspired by each and every one of you that's on the screen right now. Like, I think of you guys all the time in just different aspects, you know? And so, I think I just love what's happening, you know? And like, Elizabeth, with your Instagram is hilarious. Like, you're a doctor, but like, you don't have to be all serious and in glasses and all this stuff all the time. Like, you can go goof around. You have 6 kids. Like, you should be goofing around, you know? So I love that.
Yeah, and we all have stories to say.
Yeah. I was making fun of my brother. He's very serious and wears glasses and is very serious all the time. That's what really? Yeah, he's very serious.
I love that you have maintained not taking it too seriously, because you do fall into that trap when you start setting big goals to be like, this is kind of like a job, and then it's no longer fun.
Yeah, no, I can't imagine. Yeah, I look at it as like, it's fun. I look forward sometimes to like manifesting ideas, and I'm a very creative person. And so this kind of is like a creative outlet for me. I used to like draw and color and think paint and stuff. Can't do that around kids, right? So this is like, it kind of taps into, like, you know, my other hemisphere of my brain, and it's fun.
I love it.
It's you are a Jane of all trades. I don't know if that's actually a saying.
It is now.
Jackie of all trades.
It is now.
Doofus of all trades.
I love that.
Yeah.
When you're setting goals, like, for your race, do you set a goal time, or like, is it like a range of times, or because you have a coach, right? Yeah, so you have a coach.
Yeah.
Do you guys talk about like the time you're going out for? Because you do, and then
we do. And like, I mean, I am so new to this world. Like, my first marathon last year, she had trained me, and she was like, this is your goal race pace. And I looked at her like, no, it's not. She's like, yes, it is. Like, you can do this. And literally, my watch told me I could do that pace. My husband told me I could do that pace. My coach told me I can do that pace. Who's the common factor of telling me I can't do the pace is me. And so it's like, the night before, I was like, I need to believe in myself. I'm going to go out and I'm going to run that pace. And I actually did it faster. And that was like really eye-opening to me. And so like just learning, I think that's the benefit of having a coach that's like done this for so long. And so yeah, we do give ranges like for goal race pace and kind of give like a buffer depending on the day. But Boston did not go as planned. I did not feel myself from the beginning. I could just tell by mile 3 it was not my day. My heart rate was super high. I don't know, looking back, maybe I was sick because I came down immediately after with a terrible cold that my kids had the week before, laryngitis. And then also the late start. And then I get overstimulated easily. And so like the day before I'd done a shakeout run met some of my Instagram friends. And so like all of that, taking that in, I think it's just lessons learned, like moving forward, like I really need to stay in the zone. And then just a bigger race in general. But yeah, we do have time goals.
So your first marathon was 2024?
Last year, yeah.
That's crazy. You ran a 3:23?
3:24.
Oh, that's crazy. That is nuts.
Amazing.
Wow. So Boston was your third marathon?
Yeah, I ran Detroit last October. And then I ran that in 3:12, and then Boston. But I had higher hopes for Boston. But they, you know, with the hills, they say to add like 4 to 5 minutes. And I got a 3:16. So I mean, not terrible. I mean,
you're crushing it.
I'm very thankful. I requalified. But you know,
cool.
And I think it's just a testimony too of like training isn't always linear, you know, and I'm learning that. And I truly believe like I learned so much and I gained so much through that marathon block. It just, you know, it just wasn't what I'd hoped or anticipated. And that's okay. Like you just move on, like one step forward. Like,
yeah, it is so hard because in the moment too, it just feels so big. It is so big, but like, that's one of the great things about having kids in the when you're done with the marathon is they will humble you so quickly. And
Friendly. We're gonna go soon, okay?
I don't think she knows she's not muted.
See if they want to do if you guys want to do Chick-fil-A for dinner and get milkshakes, or if you want to do Dairy Queen, okay? You can ask
I want milkshakes for dinner.
Me too.
I'll take a cookies and cream milkshake for dinner.
I want a 12-piece fries. 12-piece nuggets.
How amazing would it have been if she said Little Caesars?
Yeah.
Doing Little
This is me
Caesars.
bribing my children. I was like, if you guys are good and don't fight this entire time, then I will take you to Dairy Queen or Chick-fil-A.
I was going to say that
Absolutely.
you're amazing. The fact that your kids are there, they've been doing great.
I
So
don't know what happened
bribery.
to my kids.
What did I just hit?
I don't know. What did you hit? Anyways,
I think you hit echo, and it's like we're going to Dairy Queen. Or how do I turn it on?
Queen.
Wow.
I
Glad I didn't say anything like.
yeah.
I don't know.
I was waiting for it.
I was
don't
waiting
know
for it
what
too.
I was
We
talking
disappointed.
about, so I lost my train of thought. But
Sorry.
well, kids after a marathon that they will bring you right back to your normal self immediately, so that you like as much as you can stay hung up on it. Like that's like on Sunday, my kids couldn't care less. They were like, "Oh, you're home again? Here we are." You know, and for me, I was like, "Oh, I didn't even get enough time away from you guys. Like, I didn't even get that, you know." But like they just humble you really quickly and into like, "Oh, this is what I'm here for. The other stuff is just extra, and it's supposed to be fun, and we're supposed to enjoy it and stuff." So, and there's so much pressure on these races to like enjoy every single second, you know. So
Definitely.
told you I do not get enough time to play.
I get annoyed with my kids when they don't appreciate how hard marathoning is. Like when we were watching the Boston Marathon and they were there with their friends watching it, and they were like, "Oh, have you won it? Second, third?"
Yeah.
And we're like looking at them and picking, like, making comments on their appearance and stuff. Like, "Oh, her forehead's kind of big." I'm like, "Are you kidding right now?"
Oh wow.
Yeah, they got to talk to me. Do you not realize what they're doing and how hard they work? Well, this has been so enjoyable and enlightening. I love, like, your love of running is just so pure. And I think if anybody is feeling like they're taking themselves too seriously, they just need to hop on to your Instagram.
Yes, definitely. I know. I think that you're just so inspiring, and I just love that you've made such progress, but that you're so consistent with having, like, you have a very busy life. You're able to somehow fit everything in. You do it very gracefully, and you're also making huge strides in your marathon times. Like, it's so, I've said it already, but it's just so refreshing to see that, like, there's so much to look forward to, you know? Like, I think that's just so exciting.
Thank you.
Keep doing it.
Right.
We'll see you after the Chicago Marathon. We'll plan on that.
Well, so yeah, that's what I'm like. Maybe either 2 days before or after. Like, we could just be in like a sufferfest together.
Yeah. I think Chicago, as far as a world major, it is that crowded at the beginning, but it's not that late start, because that has always scared me too, about that late start. Because for me, Chicago was like, the time I did it, it was just very seamless, and it is very crowded, but it was like the first time I had ever talked to people at the start line, or people actually talked to me, and I was like, oh my gosh, we can talk about how much we love running together, because I was still so new to everything, and how much the social aspect of running honestly helps. It's just like, that was the first time it clicked for me, of like, oh, if you have friends that run, or like, because I didn't have like a running Instagram, so there was like none of that at the time, you know, and so how much like the social aspect can make running so fun, and you can suffer together, you know?
Yes.
Yeah, so we'll suffer together in Chicago, maybe.
Yeah.
I'm like knocking on wood.
Hey,
Hey,
we get past 8 miles. No, just kidding.
Right. Without making a dramatic phone call. I just love, like, that's totally something my husband would say. Like, why are you calling on the phone when you have AirPods? Like, that's what we're gonna focus on.
Not like,
I was like, wow, that's my crying face? That's really bad. Wow, at least my eyelashes were on. That's good.
You still look pretty.
I had gotten Gatorade all over my eyes, and the guy next to me, he looked and he was like, oh shit, and I was like, I'm having a bad day. So like, when I was crying, I was just crying Gatorade into my eyeballs. I cannot explain what kind of a disaster I was that day. Like, I'm normally not like that when it comes to running, because I do take myself seriously in running.
Did you dump Gatorade on your head?
I didn't even
Did you just totally miss your mouth?
I missed my mouth entirely, and it went onto, it was like a wave, like a little tsunami, just right onto my eyeballs. Just like,
that's hilarious that the guy goes, oh shit.
He was like, oh shit, are you okay? I was like, clearly not. No, I looked at him and I was like, I'm having a bad day. He was, and then that was it. And then he ran in front of me. I was like, I don't know what's happening. Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
So that's good.
Anyway.
Yeah, but I'm normally like, not, I don't even stop during like a long run. Like, if somebody is stopping at a water fountain, I'm like, okay, let's keep going. Water for who? Come on, let's go. Like, it's just so funny. Like, everything was just really off that day. But Chicago will not be like that. Chicago, it's going to honestly be a blast. I'm very much looking forward to it. And honestly, so much of it is like that we're going to be able to meet so many people in real life. Like, people that I feel like I know already, you know? So.
Definitely.
Gotta get Trisha up there somehow.
Trisha?
Yeah. I'll come in.
On?
No. But I will cheer.
We could have like a whole section of people holding trees, like, and we could be like, it's a trail. They'll throw gravel.
Throw some dirt.
Yeah.
Some dirt on the ground.
Yeah.
There's a mountain lion.
Give you some pickles.
We'll just
Pop-Tart for you.
Yeah. Oh, we'll just
Okay.
her with the Pop-Tarts.
All right, that might work.
Yeah, you could run the course twice, so it's a 50K.
There you go.
50 miler. There we go. Honestly, why not?
Yeah, that sounds intriguing.
I know, right? The flattest course out there, and we're like, we could make it a trail run.
put some hills in there for you.
Like, there's like the little like ramps for the one ways, There's
Yeah.
just run through those in parking garages. All right, we have a review. It's from a man, actually.
Whoa.
Just kind of exciting. Does anybody know somebody named Cam? No? Cam.
Nope.
Okay. It's Cam B in Wisconsin. It's 5
What's up,
stars,
Cam?
not just for moms. Yeah, Cam. A running dad of 2, 5 and 3.5, and love the show. Applicable to running parents in general. Appreciate the perspective of female-specific runner, so I have an idea of the different struggles my wife runner faces versus me. Having 2 running parents in the house is tough with kids, but adding a second treadmill this year has been a game changer for living in Wisconsin. That is awesome.
That's so cool.
Cam.
Awesome.
Thanks,
I
Cam.
can't believe a man is. Oh my. That's so nice. Like,
I wonder how he found us.
oh my, I've said so many anti-man things accidentally. Not my, look at me. I was looking for that third baby.
Are you looking to have another child, Cam?
Yeah. I was,
He sounds like he'd be very supportive of your running goals, though.
yeah.
He
I
would
want a
not
second
make fun of you for using a phone when you have AirPods.
Exactly. Take a lesson from Cam, Matt.
We're going to need Cam to call in. Get Matt on here. Cam.
Yeah. I too want a second treadmill.
We're going to save that for the Patreon. How about? Okay.
Oh, that would be good.
Right?
All right, send us an email so we can arrange the phone call or the Patreon episode.
Yeah.
Speaking of which, Patreon. Yes, patreon.com/mildwithmoms podcast. Patreon spelled P-A-T-R-E-A. Wait. P-A-T-R-E-O-N.
Use every vowel, and Google will bring you there. Just P and a lot of vowels. Okay.
Yeah, there you go. P and a lot of vowels.
Yes, it'll get you there.
It's been so much fun.
Yeah, thank you guys. I hope all of our kids are still alive.
I
We
know.
have poop to go. I have to go unclog a toilet that's full of poop.
Oh,
Good
yeah.
luck.
Yeah, and there's
Have to
poop
go
on the
there.
floor, so I gotta go take care of my poop
Gross.
crisis. Yeah,
Oh
gross.
man.
Yeah, good luck with that. I'm going to go
The joys
fill
of
the
motherhood.
milkshakes for everybody.
Yeah, and you go get your milkshakes. They
I
bring
know,
all the
that's
boys
so
to
fun.
the yard.
Bring all the boys to the yard.
Yeah.
Cam?
I really
all
wish
of them.
I could have Khalid like close out the podcast. Boom, 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 boom.
I'm surprised y'all don't, to be honest.
I know. We do. How do we make
Y'all
that
need like some
On the
sort of
editing
song. Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
happen? Throw in a little.
Our editor doesn't get paid enough to figure that out.
I'll just pull it up on Alexa.
I'm sure it's licensed. I don't know.
Oh, you're right. At least she was a
I'm
big deal.
impressed that I remembered her name because I'm pretty sure she was a one-hit wonder.
Yeah, definitely.
What, for milkshake? Yeah,
Yeah.
Milkshake.
definitely.
And on that note,
On that note,
have a wonderful Mother's Day.
yes, happy Mother's Day.
Happy
everyone.
Mother's Day.
Yay.
And thanks for
Happy
having
Mother's
me.
Day. But I hope
Elizabeth, this has been such a pleasure.
Thank y'all
Yes, thank
so
you
much.
very
I was so
Keep
excited.
shining.
Like, oh my gosh.
Appreciate y'all.
Bye.
Bye.